What's up, everybody? Tonight we're going to talk about Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn rematch and more when we come right back. Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and tonight we're going to jump right on in to some boxing talk as always. But right before I do that, let me say shout outs to my cousin Trill. He had a really good event in Cincinnati at his office, and I had a good time. I had a really good time seeing some local hip hop artists doing their thing, R&B singers, and just different artists all together at one spot. So big shout outs to Trill, did a good job. Also, shout outs to In Your Face magazine. Um, Once again, Trill, Kev McFly, um, Young Snoop, and everybody who's affiliated with the movement and their partner up in Cleveland, Ohio. Um, Also, I want to make sure I make honorable mention of P3 doing his thing. He just won another fight recently, so shout outs to P3. He's been on a roll doing his thing as a young man. Um, in the boxing game, and I see a good future for him, being as young as he is, like 8 years old, 9 years old. Um, he's a very talented young man. So we hope to get him on Ring Walk Boxing Podcast in the future for sure. And shout out to his pops, to Cuzzo P30. Um, all right, y'all. So I didn't get to see all the undercards of yesterday because I had a family gathering yesterday. So I was only able to go back on YouTube and run back really the main events. So I was able to watch earlier today some of the majority of the rounds with Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. And this fight was nothing like the first fight. The first fight was a lot of back and forth, but of course, um, Eubank Jr. did enough to secure the victory in the first fight. He was a little more busy, um, and when it mattered most in the championship rounds, he was able to kind of raise the bar just a little bit in each round to give him a solid victory. But this fight last night was definitely the total opposite. It was a domination pretty much. Every round, it seemed like the timing was off with Chris Eubank. His timing was off. His power wasn't there, and it just seemed like Conor Benn was able to capitalize with his counter punches, and every time he would catch him, um, he was explosive. He was backing Eubank Jr. up against the ropes a lot, and it was not a good look for Chris Eubank Jr. because I was rooting for Chris Eubank, and that was my prediction. And just to rewind it back to the ring walk, right? Chris Eubank has 50 Cent walking him out. So that was something different. Um, it really wasn't expected, you know what I'm saying? But hey, 50 Cent is definitely a boxing fan, and he was there to see the fight, knowing that the first fight was a good fight, but this fight right here, it didn't live up to the expectation because, like I said, it wasn't nothing like the first fight. Pretty much, Conor Benn dominated, and then in the 12th round, he drops Eubank Jr. twice. So once he dropped him twice, that pretty much put the exclamation point on the whole situation. And it is what it is. I mean, unanimous decision is what it was, and that's what it should have been. Because on the side of Chris Eubanks Jr., he wasn't active enough, and he was getting hurt. He didn't even look right in the beginning of the fight. You know what I'm saying? You could tell something was off. So of course, there's going to be speculations of him being weight drained. That's going to be circulating heavy on social media and stuff like that. So why I get that, at the same time, you don't want to take away the shine of Conor Benn. In the same aspect, salute to Chris Eubank Jr. because he made no excuses on why he lost. He said the better man won. So regardless if he was weight drained or whatever, he didn't make that an excuse for himself. So therefore, I'm not going to make that an excuse. So shout outs to Conor Benn. Now, Conor Benn is not world level to me, but I guess the question to you guys is, do you think he has potential to be world level? Because I'm pretty sure most people look at him like he's a British level opponent, and you know, so it just all depends on what his future plans are and who he plans to fight, what Eddie Hearn has in store for him. But he's going to definitely have to step up and start fighting some of those big names. And he was calling out some people at the end of his fight. He was calling out some names. So we'll see. We'll see what the future holds for Conor Benn. Unfortunately, with the PED situation that happened a while back, a lot of people still are frowning upon that situation. But that's boxing for you. There's a lot of allegedly things that happen allegedly, just like with Joseph Parker here recently. It wasn't a matter of PEDs, but it was a situation where there was supposed to be some findings of cocaine in the results for the Parker versus Fabio Wardley fight. So we'll just have to sit back and wait for everything to develop to see what's going on in that situation. Because although cocaine is not a PED, a performance enhancing drug, when it's in your system and you're a boxer, that's still not a good thing for sure. So then they have to figure out, if it was in his system, how did it get there? Was there certain trace amounts in some type of powder he was drinking, some type of protein powders, or I mean, how did the cocaine find its way to get into his system? if in fact it was there, I guess that's the question. But I hope the best for Joseph Parker, because he's a real good dude. Family man. When you see him, he's always with his family, and he seems like a real laid back dude. I don't know, that situation sounds kind of crazy, but hey, stranger things have happened, when it comes to boxing. So let's talk about Anthony Yarde, because we're gonna have some big fights coming this next Sunday, right? And most likely on Saturday I'll be doing a watch along. So stay tuned in for Ring Walk Boxing Podcast, because I plan to do a watch along this Saturday for this card in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, because it's going to be a pretty, it's going to be a high level card for sure, because you're going to have Anthony Yarde versus David Benavidez. Now I'm just scrolling through social media, and Anthony Yardy says, uh, speaking about David Benavidez, he says, I don't think he's been hit by anybody who hits like me yet. Um, but I guess the same can be said if you turn the situation around, you know what I'm saying? Because David Benavidez is not necessarily a one punch knockout artist, but he punches an accumulation. He puts pressure on you. He has good hand speed. And although he might not be a knockout puncher, he can still hit. You know, he can still thump. So I don't think a person like Anthony Yardy or whoever, sometimes when you're a guy with massive punch power, you're so concerned about what you can do to your opponent. You're not so concerned on what they can do to you. So that could be the issue in this situation. If Yardy overlooks Benavidez thinking that he can't be hurt by him, it could be that punch he doesn't see that hurts him, you know. So he has to be careful because David Benavidez does have decent feet to be the big guy that he is, and he has um, good reach and he has hand speed. So that's going to be a good style matchup. You know, my main concern the whole time has been, is Anthony Yardy too bulky at 175? Um, you know, he's a big dude, but he has a lot of muscle mass. So I just don't know if that muscle mass is going to be a factor. But a lot of people, shout outs to Cam J and different others, they feel like David Benavidez is going to step on Anthony Yardy. They feel like it's going to be a pretty easy fight. So we going to see. We are definitely going to see on Saturday. And also on that same card, another great fight is Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes. Now, I seen an interview a while back with Shakur Stevenson, and he claimed that Sam Noakes is a formidable opponent who can thump and he can hit. So, with that being said, you have people who feel like Abdullah Mason's chin has not been tested. We've seen Abdullah Mason dropped a time or two, but I mean, we've seen him get back up and win the fight. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of one of them people that I don't get too carried away with calling a boxer chinny because you get knocked down. I mean, that's boxing. Anybody can get knocked down. The question is, do you get back up? Muhammad Ali was dropped a handful of times in his career, and every time he got up. So I don't look too far into when people use the word glass chin or chinny. I think that's a term that they overuse, in my opinion. So let me know what y'all think, y'all. Predictions for Anthony Yardy versus David Benavidez. Predictions for Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes. Also on that card, I think the fight that most people are probably most excited about is Devin Haney versus the Assassin, aka Brian Norman Jr. Devin the Dream Haney. That's an intriguing fight for sure. It's a style matchup. To where we know what we know what Brian Norman can do. You know what I'm saying? And please hit that thumbs up as you enter the chat, please. Big shout outs to Cam J Network. Mike Ware, you said Kovalev and Arthur are bigger punchers. We need to remember David hasn't hurt anyone at 175. Des Scobie, you said you're already going to try and catch David in between combos. Hey, that would be smart of him, actually. That would be very smart. Shout outs to Dez, Scobie. Savage Bow, you said best card this year by far. Absolutely. Uh, Cam J said that Mike Ware Kovalev ain't relevant. uh, Cam J, you said Abdullah about to bring the title home to Ohio. Yeah, shout outs to Ohio, man. And while we're talking about the state of Ohio where we are, let's talk about shout outs to your guy and my guy up in up north from up north. Marcus, Ohio runs boxing. Shout outs to him for sure. Greetings to you, Cuzzo. Thanks for coming through, cousin DD. Thank you. Savage Bo, you said David will get the late stoppage. He gets stronger throughout the fight as usual. And it's funny you say that, man, because that's what I have been saying in my past video. I feel like those championship rounds, if it lasts that long, um, Benavidez is not going to fatigue. He's going to still be running strong. He has a good engine. And with Anthony Yardy, to me, going down the stretch, if he makes it past the mid rounds, I think the muscle mass is going to be going to have effect on him. So it's definitely going to be a good fight to see. I just hope that Anthony Yardy's training team has worked on his conditioning, his wind, because if he goes in those deep rounds, he has to have the means to make it through with a proper cardio and conditioning to make it through 12-round fight. Mike Ware, 70-30 for David. I've never seen Noakes, so I can't call. At first, I felt Brian, but after seeing Haney 50-50. Well, after seeing Haney, also, when you see those pictures of Haney, he's in tremendous shape right now. But make no mistake about it, so is B. Norm Jr. He's in good shape as well. So when those two guys lock horns on Saturday, it's going to be something to see. And you don't want to get up and be moving around. You want to stay glued to your seat because, a fight like that, you never know what could happen. Um, Mike Ware, you said Cam J. When Kovalev beat him, he was champ and relevant. Cam J, you said to Mike, in this current time, Kovalev irrelevant. That's a dumbass talking point. Well, yeah, I see what you're saying too, Cam J. I do. I do get what you're saying there. Um, regardless of Kovalev right now, that ship has sailed and gone. So I kind of get what you're saying. Now, I know Mike where you felt, and my cousin Boom. Shout out to my cousin Boom, Zone 15. I seen him at the family gathering yesterday, right? So we're talking about Abdullah Mason, and Cuzzo was like, I don't know about his chin, Cuzzo. And I know Mike Ware was saying the same thing, right? So what y'all think as far as Abdullah Mason? I know you don't know a lot about Noakes, so when you get a chance tonight, Mike Ware, check out some footage on him. Check out some film on Sam Noakes. I don't know if he's sparred Shakur Stevenson or if he's ever fought him in like amateurs or whatever. I don't know. But check out Sam Noakes. And make sure, like I said, y'all, hit that thumbs up as you enter the chat. And I want to salute and say thanks to everybody who showed up tonight. We got a decent little chat room going on. And if you can, share this link. Share this to your social media as well. Um, I did have a chance to also check out an interview with David Benavidez. The source is Mill City on YouTube, if you want to look it up yourself. So Benavidez said the training facility in Dubai was phenomenal. He also said he went to the Mike Tyson gym in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He talked about his fight with David Morrell. He said the fight showed him he was on a different level. He said the turnout for the event for Morrell versus himself was really good. He said he wants to keep proving on why he's the best fighter in the world. This is David Benavidez speaking in the interview. He said he never overlooks any opponent and he's training harder every fight as he moves along. He said he understands Anthony Yarde is coming to fight. He said he knows what it takes to also hurt Anthony Yarde. He stated Yarde's best performances were Kovalev and Beterbiev, in which he was eventually stopped. He said he's ready for toe-to-toe action if that's what Anthony Yarde chooses to bring on Saturday night. David Benavidez said his goal is to make the biggest and best fights. He said he wants to fight for all the titles at light heavyweight. He even went on to mention the titles at cruiserweight in the future. So it sounds like David Benavidez wants all the smoke. And I know some people are somewhat anti David Benavidez or they act like they're not a fan, but at least give him his props. At least give him that much that he's willing to fight everybody and he's willing to give us the fights we want to see. He's not out here trying to cherry pick and take what you call the low hanging fruit. He's trying to get the upper echelon of all the light heavyweight division, and in the future, even spoke on in particular, he may want to go to cruiserweight. So, what's not to like about a guy like that who's willing to put it all on the line, and he's not trying to protect his O. He just wants to give us the best fights. Side note, he's always wanted Canelo Alvarez, but we know that was like another DuckTales. Um, Cam J, you said DB is now. Kovalev time has passed. DB inflicts pain like a Mexican giving you 100 or 1,000 cuts, punches and bunches, breaking you down. He's never been an instant KO guy. You tried to downplay him saying he was. Yeah, man. I just can't wait, man, because that whole card gonna be lit. Um, I also caught a glimpse of the interview with Abdullah Mason on the Zone with Adi Aladipo. So again, shout outs to the state of Ohio. Shout outs to the Mason family and Abdullah Mason. Abdullah Mason said he had put high expectations on himself. He said it's no surprise to him he's in a position to fight Sam Noakes for the vacant WBO lightweight title. This is a huge opportunity for Abdullah Mason. Being away from home over here in America, of course, he's ready for the big moment in Saudi Arabia this Saturday. Folks talk about his questionable chin, like I said. Abdullah Mason, some people want to see his chin tested. Um, so I believe this Saturday we're going to see his chin tested to an extent. Sam Noakes does have nice punch power, so we're gonna get a chance to see how Abdullah Mason does. Also, we get to see Abdullah Mason away from home. So he's fighting out of the states, fighting over there in the Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So he's going to be in a whole different atmosphere. So we're going to see how he does with all the pressure on him this weekend. And also, while I was mentioning my cousin Bunk, shout out to my cousin DJ and Brandon as well, because we were all talking boxing as I was about to leave, and we talked about this card coming up this Saturday. All right. So what y'all think about the news with Moses and Tuma versus Jermaine Franklin? Moses and Tuma, I feel like Top Rank and Frank Warren is moving him. They're moving him accordingly. They're moving him at a good pace. They're not letting him get above himself. I'm pretty sure in his mind, and as a Warriors mentality, Moses and Tuma is ready to take on the world. But I think sometimes Frank Warren and them have to kind of wheel him back in because they don't want him just to end up like Daniel Dubois or end up like Joe Joyce. They want to make sure they move him in the right way. Yep, shots fired for sure. JC for sure. You already know when it gets when we get Mike We're in the house and Cam J, it's on the floor. uh so what y'all think about Moses and Tuma and Jermaine Franklin? I think Franklin's definitely going to give him Moses and Tuma some rounds. But let's look at the facts, man. Jermaine Franklin has a good chin. He's a KG fighter. He has pretty quick hands. It's going to be a different style opponent for Moses and Tuma. Moses and Tuma hasn't fought somebody like a Jermaine Franklin. Jermaine Franklin almost has that kind of like that Andy Ruiz style to an extent. You know, they're very cagey. They got good chins. They have a good recovery. And as of yet, I haven't seen Jermaine Franklin even dropped. So I think this is going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good test for Moses and Tuma. Now, I don't know if Jermaine Franklin has ever fought a southpaw, so that could be a little hard for him trying to adjust to Moses and Tuma being a southpaw fighter. So it's going to be a good match for sure. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that. Um, Also for the interim WBC Super Lightweight Championship, December the 6th, Lamont Roach Jr. versus Pitbull Cruz. What do y'all think about that? I saw an interview with Lamont Roach Jr. and he pretty much was saying, so shout outs to the boxing source, my brother over there in the DMV area on the East Coast. He interviewed Lamont Roach. And Lamont Roach Jr. was saying that Pitbull Cruz perfected what he does very well. A pressure fighter, this, that, and the other, right? But he was saying that pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, but he's saying pretty much Pitbull Cruz is one dimensional. So let me know what y'all think. You know, do you think that Pitbull has enough to trouble Lamont Roach? Because Lamont Roach is pretty much saying he's more versatile and things like that, and he's going to prove that when he fights Pitbull Cruz. Now I can see Lamont Roach winning on points, but I can't see him stopping Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull Cruz has a very, very good chin. and he's hard to connect clean on his chin because of his short, stocky stature. So that's going to be a good fight for sure. It's going to be a good fight. Des Scobie, you said Roach wins after a tough fight. That's the way I see it, man. I feel like he's going to eventually, you know, get the edge because he has more. Um, he's a good counter puncher, um, and I think he'll be smart. I think he'll box some, and then in certain spots he's going to get in there and get in the phone booth and mix it up a little bit. But he's not going to stay in the phone booth too long because that's where you get in the danger zone if you're fighting a fighter like Pitbull Cruz. Hey, cousin Scoob, what's going on, cuzzo? Appreciate you following through, man. Please hit that thumbs up. And like I said, this Saturday I'm going to do a watch along when the fights are going down. So please tune in. Um, Even if you're busy watching the fight, just push play on my channel and enjoy the fight. But definitely hit the thumbs up, y'all. Um, Des Scobie, you said Sam Noakes is the best lightweight in Europe for a reason. He's his touch, powerful and skilled. Yeah, man. He's definitely not going to be an easy task for Abdullah Mason. This is going to be a perfect match, man. It's gonna because I remember you said something too, Des, about pretty much that you don't want to jump the gun with Abdullah Mason. Um, that you don't want to put him on a certain pedestal right now. You feel like it's too early to put him at that type of level or whatever. Well, Saturday is gonna speak volumes. If he can handle Sam Noakes, then I think people are going to definitely start to put respect on Abdullah Mason's name. So it's definitely one of them fights, man. That hey, Saturday can't get here quick enough. It can't get here quick enough. So what y'all think about on December the 6th, Frank Martin versus Rancis Bartholomew? It's good to see Frank the Ghost Martin back. And I like Frank Martin, you know what I'm saying? I like him. I think the timing wasn't the best for him to fight Tank. But at the same time, it's like, hey man, sometimes people dare to be great or they want to show they're not a cherry pick and they're not ducking. So at the same time, you gotta look at it on both sides of the spectrum. Yeah, Frank Martin could have waited to fight Tank, but then again, he could have waited and never fought Tank at all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna say because Tank was able to stop and knock out um, Frank Martin that it's over for his career. I think Frank Martin has a whole lot left in the tank. Um, I feel like he's gonna hold it down when he fights Rancis Bartholomew. Um, I think he's athletic, and at 140, I think he's going to fill in a lot better because he already has that size. You know what I'm saying? He already has that size to him. So at 140, he's not going to lose anything. He's going to be even probably a little bit more powerful with his punches. Um, I can't wait to see that match too, man. I can't see. I can't wait to see Frank Martin again. Um, I'm also looking forward to seeing Fulton versus Oshaki Foster. That's another one I want to see. 50-50 fight, in my opinion. Well, what do y'all think? Fulton versus Foster. How does it play out? Hey, Cuzzo, what's going on? Brody James. I see you, Cuzzo. Thanks for following through. Y'all all please hit that thumbs up. Um, Now I know when it comes to Frank Martin, Mike Weir, I know you're not really a necessarily sold on Frank Martin, man, but I think he's one of those fighters that doesn't get enough credit, and I think he's going to start showing fight after fight that uh he belongs up there with some of the notable names, especially at 140. I think he's going to start making a statement uh as he moves along in the 140 division. Um, Now just another recap from yesterday on the top rank card. I kind of skimmed through a couple of fights because I had just got back home kind of late last night, and I was able to see a couple of fights. But I went back and I ran back the Jack Catterall fight, Jack Catterall versus Iko Usman. Jack Catterall's 31, 2 losses, no draws, versus Usman, 22 wins, 1 loss. That was for the WBO Global Welterweight Championship. Well, or like I would say in my post on on FB and stuff, my caption, I'll say, "Well, so we saw how that went, right? That that fourth round, that counterpunch from Jack Catterall was devastating. And down goes Usman. Now he did get back up to his feet, and get back in there. He squares up. He's standing toe to toe with Jack Catterall, and this is at 147 pounds. Well, again, later in the fight, in round 11, Jack Catterall turns all the way up, and he knocks Iko Usman through the ropes, out the ring. That was a devastating stoppage. That was a devastating stoppage. But shout outs to Jack Catterall for you know not celebrating or whatever after his knockout finish. He was really concerned about Usman, who also I believe was his sparring partner in the past. So everything is okay with Usman, you know, and Jack Catterall said at the end of the fight, he started calling out names. So this has been the season of call outs, right? Because you had Boots Ennis calling out people. Um, you had Conor Benn calling out people after his win. And now you got Jack Catterall, who says at 147, he wants B Norm Jr., Mario Barrios, Crocker, and Romero. He said whoever at 147 pretty much can get the business. What do y'all feel about Jack Catterall? Um, to me, he kind of like he kind of reminds me of like Tefime Lopez, not necessarily as far as his fighting style, but he kind of could be inconsistent. He'll look real good against certain style opponents, or a certain night he'll be looking real good, but then the next time he fights, you're like, man, he done lost a step. You know what I'm saying? So to me, he's one of those inconsistent guys. You never know what version of Jack Catterall you're gonna get. But he's calling out all the dogs in the top dogs of the division though. So once again, hey, in an age where so many people protect their O's or they're ducking, Jack Catterall wants all the smoke. He wants all the smoke. So I say bring it on. Also on the top rank card, the main event, Rafael Espinoza versus Arnold Kagi. Oh man, what can you really say for it to end the way it ended in the 11th round? Rafael stops uh, Arnold in round number 11. And I agree with Cam J. We talked earlier on the phone. That fight should have been stopped earlier. Um, but yeah, Espinoza pretty much dominated that fight. He was way too much for Arnold. So to to call it a stoppage was definitely the right call, but it should have happened earlier. You said Des Scobie. You said Foster throws punches like he pays for them. He's a picky puncher, but will mix it up when needed. Fulton is going to be on his A game, but can he take the power at a third weight class? Hmm. Yeah, man. Time will tell, my guy. Time will tell. When the fight happens, we're gonna definitely know. Um, so I'm like Cam J. Shout outs to Brunch Boxing to Matt. I have the same belief, y'all, that basically I'm happy and I feel like boxing is in a good space because we can sit here and say fighter A is not fighting fighter B. For instance, Bruce Ennis and Virgil not going to fight, but it seems like Virgil, for whatever reason, Virgil Ortiz is not trying to fight Boots Ennis right now. So we're so distracted and caught up that these two guys are not fighting. We're not thinking about the fact that all the fights I talked about tonight are going to happen. Moses and Tuma versus Jermaine Franklin will happen. Lamont Roach versus Pitbull Cruz will happen. Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. will happen. Oshaki Foster versus Fulton will happen. David Benavidez versus Yardy will happen. Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes will happen. So it's still a lot of good fights that we will get to see. We just have to appreciate what we get. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't really heard much developing news on the Jake Paul situation as far as, a replacement opponent or whatever. Of course, we heard the Mike Coppinger situation, which a lot of people are saying is cap. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to still find another replacement to make that card still happen in December, or do they just scrap the whole card? I don't know. But I guess we'll see, right? We'll see what's going down. Um, so I'm not gonna stick on here much longer, y'all. I'm happy y'all came through and y'all pulled up and showed y'all support. I appreciate everybody. Um, and I look forward to seeing y'all on Saturday because that's what's gonna really matter, man. And hopefully, cuz you can fall through, Brody James. I'll reach out to you, and hopefully you can pull up for the fight card because I will be going live. So tell cousin Tat, tell him what's up for Saturday. Um, so yeah, y'all, I'm gonna get ready to sign off tonight. Um, make sure you check the description area. Also, we have a Venmo set up where if you want to help donate and support the channel, we have the Venmo donation. We have the clothing line in the description area, and all things on the link tree that are Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. Um, and we're going to see you on Saturday. So you all have a safe, blessed night, and I will catch you on the next round. Peace.